I don't usually post videos on Sundays, but you know what? I'm feeling nice and relaxed. It's the weekend after all. I've got a little bit of time, so let's get some adrenaline going as we have a look at a couple of viewer-submitted games of StarCraft 2. It's been a little while since I've casted these, so I'm excited to find out exactly what you guys have been up to on the ladder over the last couple of weeks. Our first game is taking place on the map Cosmic Sapphire, although according to the description of this particular replay, we're actually on the map Kosmische Saphir. I think that's the German name for this particular map. Anyways, spotting right here in the top left-hand corner, playing with the red Protoss probes, we have Valravn. Their opponent in the opposite corner with the blue SCVs, they go by the name of Weedjo. Weedjo? Is that like a video with like an X? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. Anyways, what exactly are we doing here? So we've got ourselves a pylon going up already at the 6 o'clock position of this map. In case you're unfamiliar, I haven't posted a lot of viewer-submitted games over the last couple of weeks, or really the last couple of months. Generally speaking, the viewer games, they have some of the absolute most ridiculous strategies that somehow, some way work. Look, I love casting macro games. I think it's a lot of fun. But when it comes to, the games that are played on the ladder, I think the vast majority of the crazy strategies are a lot more fun to watch. So usually those are the replays that we get sent over. If you have an awesome game of StarCraft 2 that you would like me to cast, please only submit your very craziest games. You can send them over to replays at LowkoTV, and there's a chance I'll be casting your game here in the future. I do want to start doing these a little bit more frequently once again too, because, the pro games are a lot of fun. I will definitely keep that as the standard of the channel for, ooh, nice little catch, for the foreseeable future, but I would definitely like to see a little bit more community content as well. So what exactly are we doing here, Weedjo? Weedjo has decided to go for an NG Bay block. Okay, Nexus will be attempted at the very least, but that's not gonna happen. And at the same time, they now decide to go for a proxy factory after scouting the delayed Nexus on the low ground. I would be a little bit concerned, especially, when you haven't seen all too much from the opponent. Anyhow, it turns out Valravn is currently spending their resources on just making a whole load of units. So, 2 Stalkers are being produced at once. I think you should probably rally that one towards the other side of the map as well, because we need to start putting on as much pressure as possible. Yeah, continuously produce these. He actually did now find the proxy factory. Widowmine is being constructed over there, okay. And this is about to get really wild, because both players are cheesing one another. Now, at this point, I believe that Terran has also figured out what Protoss is up to, and obviously Protoss has figured out what Terran is up to. He was, I think, going to send the Stalker across the map eventually, but now he's going to see that indeed... Ooh. Alright, there is a factory over here, so he decided to go to the other direction. We are going to have to see a little bit of multitasking. Now, is the APM sufficient? Alright, looks like we're okay for the time being, at the very least. Yeah, that's good, that's good. This is where, if you see the pro players micro it, you're like, okay, that looks simple, that looks straightforward, but if you're, forced to deal with double digits of actions per minute... Yo, my phone! No, this is not the time for an alarm. If you're forced to deal with double digits of actions per minute, it is very difficult to actually control everything at once, but so far so good. That Widowmine is just burrowed right over here. Probe is going to be sacrificed in vain. Actually, nah, not in vain. It's going to come at the, the exchange right... No, we should really target... No, okay. Anyways. We're targeting the wrong things here. I think we should be targeting the Widowmine instead, especially after sacrificing right over there. The same time, all of the Stalkers get surrounded. No! Valravn, you had all the tools, dude. Okay, so we bruised the tech lab after sacrificing a Widowmine. We lost all of the Stalkers on the other side of the map for no apparent reason at all. This is where the harsh reality of being a regular guy on the ladder kicks in, right? You go to bed at night as a StarCraft player, you close your eyes and you believe that you're a hero. You think if you try hard enough, you might just become Maru or Cyril. Okay, cute little bit of repair micro there, I'm here for it. And then, reality kicks in as soon as you actually load a game onto the ladder. Anyhow, I did not consider a Thor to be coming up after the Widowmine, but you know what? This Thor is ridiculously powerful. Weedjo didn't have the greatest amount of supply here for a while, but a Thor rush certainly can work out, especially after you just cleaned up the Stalkers on the other side of the map. At this point, there's really not a whole lot available for the Thor to be dealt with. SCVs, okay, are coming across the map too. I believe I saw a medevac on the production tab. Okay, that one's coming out of the main base, so it's gonna be some time. But this Big Daddy Thor has already killed a whole load of stuff. Immortal is coming up. Now, I think the Immortal is a fantastic choice. Certainly the best option. But with repairs, and especially with a medevac, with good control at the very least, this should be a unit that you can keep alive. I'm a little disappointed we're not going for another Thor, but I guess they're rather expensive, right? So he's not really, getting it going nearly as quickly as I'd like to see it. There's the Immortal. Okay, probes are pulled away as well from their mineral lines. For now, the Immortal, just mostly bruised a little bit, but nothing all too crazy. Those shields are going to regenerate easy peasy. SCVs still set up to auto-repair one another. Guys, you're supposed to repair the Thor, okay? I like the self-preservation, but... Okay, very dangerous game here. I don't think that Immortal has enough damage output to kill the Thor at this point, though. Additional Stalkers are being warped in, and the Immortal... Okay, we're gonna boost after it. Battery overcharge as well is gonna keep it alive. Oh my god, sick bait. Valravn pulling back at the last possible moment. Repairing the Immortal back up to full shields anyways. Using the super battery, and even though the SCVs will hug each other, they're both gonna die. Okay, so we had Protoss in an excellent situation at the start of this game, and then he messed up the micro. Then we had Terran in an excellent situation as the follow-up goes, and then he messed up the micro. I'm starting to see a theme here. I'm assuming that our Protoss is up next. Wouldn't be surprised if Valravn is going to give away his army here in just a moment once again. Alright, Jimmy and Mark, not long for this world. This factory will also be permanently pushed back. NG Bay at this point is also gone, by the way, so if he really wants to, Valravn could certainly go ahead and expand behind this. Weedjo has already decided to go for a command center. We see another barracks over here too, so despite the first 7 minutes of this match, things are starting to stabilize. Yeah. So this is what pro players do a lot, right? They will have these units right here at the bottom of the ramp because they know that if the opponent decides to come down the ramp, they can actually micro these units back in time. I'm a little bit concerned because I've seen this happen 1,000 times before. The Terran is at some point is going to wander down the ramp and all of these Stalkers are going to, well, be controlled after half of them has died. Which is not ideal, believe it or not. Yeah, not great. Anyways, another factory is coming up. I'm curious to see what we're going to do over there. There's no vision for our Protoss here at this section of the map. So these Marines should be able to get towards the other side of the map without too much contest. Valravn is waiting right now for the Observer to get into position to figure out what's happening here. There's a whole lot of nothing available at this point here for our Protoss. He's got one Liberator coming up. Prism is now available too. Hero Immortal from earlier is now tasked with plowing through that bunker, and it pulls that off easy peasy. Okay. Good control here so far. Would love to see the Prism part of this battle as well, but not quite the case. That one Liberator should not stop this army, by the way. That one Liberator has a dream. Anyways, in the meantime, that medevac has arrived on the other side of the map. Battery overcharge is going to be pretty sweet, but the damage per second of these Marines is going to be pretty good, especially once Stimpack finishes, which is not quite the case just yet. Okay, just warp in a couple reinforcement, Valravn. You don't have to recall? No, okay, well, we can recall a little bit, but you should really go into the main base, my man. There's a... Even if you don't want to engage the Liberator, you can just go around it. Easier said than done, though. Units are going back to mining. Stalkers from the main base after getting recalled. Okay. Oh my god, really? Oh no. Stop tiptoeing in the circle. My god, it doesn't matter, man. As long as your, like, Stalker toes, oh yeah, are even within that... Doesn't matter, okay? Everything takes full damage. Your pinky toe gets shut off, dead. That's... Medical professionals can't explain how it works either, okay? You might have a lot of problems going on, but as long as your pinky toe is gone, suddenly it's GG. I've had that happen to many a queens over... Oh. Oh my god, he was controlling them. All you need to do is just right-click the Prism. Battery overcharge in the main base to deflect those Marines once more, but the Marines are just gonna continuously harass. And despite the fact that Weedjo had nothing available at home to defend against a pretty sizable Protoss army, He's managed to stay in this game, and I actually like his position a little bit better right now, I think. If we can get that Nexus, that would be massive. Weedjo definitely seems a little bit more confident when it comes to the micro, right? Okay, so we're hugging the sieged up tank. SCVs are gonna try and repair it, okay? Is there enough firepower here? I don't think so. I don't think so, no. SCVs shuffling right there as well in the direction of the tank and unsieged that doesn't have that minimum fire. One Immortal over here also, or sorry, one Marauder over here also trying to be annoying. Siege tank now doing its favorite TikTok dance. Prism gets shut down. Okay. It sieges up in a nice, comfortable spot. It was still warm, okay? The Marines, by the way, have in the meantime finished off the Nexus. Love to see that. And Valravn is starting to fall apart. Yeah, this is not the best position for him to be in right now. Stimpec at this point is finished. So, what little income Valravn has at this point is being reduced as well to just a trickle. And yeah, at this point we're talking just a tiny little bit of income right here for our Protoss player. Terran still is on one base though, and he's been mining with mules as well. So these minerals here, these blue minerals are gonna run out very quickly. So I like seeing this securing of the low ground. I think that's super important because he's not gonna be able to continue mining otherwise. Okay. The Hero Marines, they're coming back home. They're expecting a welcoming committee. They want to tell their stories around the Terran campfire. Maybe you guys can finish this off as well. That would be really nice. No. They finished their jobs, okay? They are gotta get promotions on the side of the Terran, so they want to get home as soon as possible after being out in the battlefield for a while. So this proxy pylon here is still useful. SCV just scouted the warp in. Not exactly sure if that is that great. Valravn has, by the way, decided to just go for a one base all-in right now. Charge is about halfway done. But as long as this proxy pylon is here, we're still talking 5 gateways. It's quite good. Terran is thinking about going double upgrades here. That is not... There's the third command center and there's double upgrades. Those are two things that we should not see at this point in the game. The problem is he is playing the long run. So Weedjo here is trying to get this game to go the distance. But Valravn has a lot of army. Yeah, so now that army gets spotted, for some reason that seemed like a surprise. There's a couple of adepts here in the mix. Not entirely sure what they're doing, especially when charge finishes up here in just a moment. Terran, yeah, is gonna have to deal with a bunch of zealots with leg enhancements. Is there enough right here for Protoss to bite their way through this? Siege tanks dealing a bunch of friendly fire. Medevac gets targeted down as well. That force field is helping out the Terran more than it's helping out the Protoss because it's providing a little bit of safety there for the siege tank. Valravn may actually be able to pull this one off because Weedjo decided to go double upgrades while also going for a third... Okay, also going for a third command center. Then again, this needs to be game-ending damage because triple mule mining is absolutely fantastic. Weedjo, by the way, also going for a fourth command center in the bottom left-hand corner. Not 100% sure about that one. Anyways, I think here we go again. No, don't charge at this. Oh, God, he charged at the SCVs. That's not where you want to be. Okay, that tank is gonna go down. And this is starting to be a problem. This is starting to be a problem. Sure, Terran may have a very nice economy, but if they don't have the army to actually stop this army from the Protoss, they're gonna have an issue. He needs to keep going, though. Because he must know that there are quite a few command centers out at this point. Maybe a couple of SCVs pulled to the front as well to soak up some of that damage. Not a bad idea. In the meantime, he started producing more of those space construction vehicles in the bottom left-hand corner. Fair enough. Okay. Oh, okay. Siege tank. Once again, targeted down. Can we see some Guardian shields? No Guardian shields. A little bit of a shame. We are once again gonna force field. That force field... Okay, well, now it's doing something, I guess, because Terran wants to get back into the main, but that force field is helping out the Terran player more than it's helping out the Protoss. We see an SCV transfer. He has seen this like 10 minutes ago. I'm not exactly sure why that's still around. Anyhow, apparently rather than playing a save game and trying to win this one in a concise manner, Weedjo decides to once again take a gamble. This man just hit 18 playing blackjack and he's like, no, Dealer, hit me again. I would very much so like another card. Let's see how it goes. I think the time for gambling is in the past, man. I think you just hold at this point and you go and make a bunch of units and go to the other side of the map. Now, he obviously hasn't scouted Protoss here for a while, but he must realize that there can't be much income anymore on the other side of the map at this point. Okay. Valravn. I think it's time for your units as well to just sit around for a little bit and contemplate life. Yeah. Jeremy here gets pushed around by a tank, but he doesn't even care. Long distance mining the natural, while you have a zealot pretending to be a nexus, is not the preferred playstyle. We now even have a... Wait, are we gonna planetary? I don't think we need a planetary here, man. Weedjo is just stretching it at this point, and I've got a feeling that there's really not a lot he can do to really lose this. I mean, obviously, you could go for, like, Dark Templar or, you know, suddenly show up with other units that you might not entirely expect. And Weedjo doesn't have any detection. So, you know what? That might not be a terrible choice. But off of... Okay, there's finally a Nexus. What a game, says Valravn. After long distance mining the natural, you just don't have the resources for it. Valravn, though, says, GG, well played. Weedjo responded with saying, GG was fun. Oh my god. All the politeness? Love to see it. Have a nice day? Okay. That's not something we see all too often. Normally, people get a little bit angry in these games, but... Well, would you look at that. GG is cold, and it is indeed going to be Weedjo who obtains the victory. Alright, next up, we find ourselves on a map inside and out. It's time for a Diamond League match of Protoss versus Protoss, where our blue Protoss player here has already sent out a worker. Now, I thought these names were kind of ironic. So first off, here in the bottom left-hand corner, we're looking at MrWhite's main Nexus. And then the opponent, he goes by the name of Doxylamine. Which, you know, I don't really know what that... I just looked it up. Apparently, it's some sort of... insomnia medicine. Anyways, hold up right now. What do we have? Doxylamine here is gonna go... He's gonna go for a proxy pylon at his own third base. MrWhite, well aware with all the science formulas and whatever else we've got going on in this game, he decides to also go for a proxy pylon. Okay, Fort, I actually think is the right choice here, yeah. So Fort and Gateway at the same time. I think originally MrWhite probably wanted to go for a double proxy gateway here on the other side of the map. At the very least, that would make sense. Second probe, though, did show up, so maybe he was going to go for a cannon rush. Anyhow, Doxy is going to be in a little bit of trouble, as he's not going to be able to achieve too much, right? Like, as long as you go for, like, probably 2 photon cannons, it is important that MrWhite does not go for like 17 photon cannons, which I've seen many times before in these viewers meta games. I think if you go for like 2 photon cannons here, you'll be able to shut down zealot production. Okay, 1 is gonna be a little greedy. Okay, 2, I think 2 is good. Maybe 3. Yeah, I'm looking at this too, but this should do the trick. Second pylon as well. It's a little much. In the meantime, though, the other probe decided to go to the corner of the opponent's base. There is, by the way, gas mining. I'm not sure exactly what the gas mining is for here. Okay, Doxy is going to go around and not engage those photon cannons. He's recognized at this point that there's really no way that he's going to shut this down. So apparently these are just going to be the most expensive zealots that Protoss players have ever seen. Because, yeah, all of these gateways are going to get like 1, maybe 2 zealots out of them each before the pylons as well as the gateways will get shut down. That being said, yeah, this is now forcing a wall off. I don't know if you need to wall off over there. But anyways, it's forcing a wall off here on the other side of the map as MrWhite is forced to deal with those zealots that are now coming across. Okay. He's now at 18 out of 63 supply. Those additional, pylons are quite helpful. Anyways, he now finds the pylon as well instead of his own main base. And Doxy, after proxy gateway cheesing his own third base, has now decided to also cannon rush his own main base. You love to see it. Recall will be used on these zealots, even though they had perfectly nice legs. We already established that they were Protoss royalty. So, you know, rather than walking home, they are tasked with just getting back here as fast as possible You know what? Even though I don't think that this cannon rush here in blue would have achieved all too much, they are gonna help out in shutting this down. Okay. So far, the most expensive zealots in the world are indeed worth their weight in gold. You'll love to see it. Okay, so what exactly is the plan? Doxy here has decided to go for a Stargate. Yeah, and this is that awkward moment, right? Like, you just shut all of this down, but now what? So now you've got 450, 500, 650, 700, 800, 900. You got 950? Did I do math in a video? That's a bad idea. Anyways, you got give or take 1,000 resources caught up in things that don't actually do anything for you. Right? Like, what is this doing here for MrWhite? Does this allow him to go into an RV and make meth out in the... No! This is not allowing him anything. This was a bad investment. But you know what? Doxy... he is trying to give his Protoss royalty here the best treatment possible. You know what they need? Private planes. The fleet beacon is coming up. So after successfully cannon rushing his own main base and not so successfully proxying his own third base, he's now decided to go for the classic build order of the one base fleet beacon. I don't think I've seen this all too often, but it might just work, maybe. I actually think just an Oracle is not a bad idea. Anyways, in the meantime, MrWhite... I mean, you gotta imagine, right? In order to catch MrWhite, you gotta think like MrWhite. This guy is pulling out the full book of Protoss bullshit. Okay, this guy went for a proxy gateway on the other side of the map. He probably intended on going double proxy gateway, and instead he decided to go for a cannon rush. Then after the cannon rush, of course, right? Either you go Dark Templar or you go Void Race. But at the very least, you add a proxy nexus in the mix as well. MrWhite is playing the nastiest strategies ever. And you know what? I don't mind it. One base Tempest, though. The first private plane is out. Don't know which of the zealots is going to be tasked with taking care of that one, but it doesn't really matter all too much. Yeah, nicely played right here by MrWhite. This is an Oracle making the flight of shame. Not a whole lot you can do here. So the one battery is going to be pretty sweet. Well, it is important that Doxy also... So here's a weird dynamic. This is not doing anything here for MrWhite, other than, I guess, protected Nexus. So he was trying to make something useful out of this setup for him, right? Doxy doesn't, however, know about the Nexus. And even though this is not really threatening him in any way, he is still scared of it. Oracle available here as well for MrWhite, who is, of course, just gonna continue onwards with the dirtiness. Now going for Phoenixes, which I am not 100% sold on, but... he's seen the Tempest. Anyways, Doxy here is very scared. I think what he should have done is just sent this Tempest to the other side of the map. That would have been a whole lot more potent. Yeah, because now there's a Nexus going up here on the low ground as well. MrWhite, though, is still walled into his own bases, so not a whole lot he can achieve other than with maybe a... Really? We're gonna go all the way around? We gotta shut down that pylon? Okay, then. Anyways, other than with maybe like a Warp Prism or flying units, Oracle is gonna try again from a different angle, but believe it or not, there's still gonna be a shield battery. So, yeah, not exactly sure. Oh my god, this guy, though, has got 12 kills now to its name, and that is quite significant. He could have just used the Tempest, but now the Phoenixes have shown up, and they're gonna, yeah, make short work of this. Just make a shield battery, Doxy! It's like, now I can't afford it. Must make Tempest. I'm not sold on the Phoenixes, okay? This whole decision-making over the last couple of minutes has been questionable at best, on both sides. Anyway, Oracles do go really well with Tempest, of course, since they have that Revelation skill. And since Tempest can shoot away further than they can see, it's nice to, yeah, have vision of your opponent's units. This Oracle is completely out of energy, though, so at the very least now it's no longer a threat, but it's already killed 13 workers. I think he probably accidentally left the pulsar beam on. There's the Revelation. I think the Tempest can just go over there. It's not really a problem, but he is super dead. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I like the Revelation into just hanging the Oracle right next to its threat. Love that. Okay, so you know what's better than one Stargate? 2 Stargates? What's better than 2 Stargates? 3 Stargates. What's better than 3 Stargates? 4 Stargates on 1. What are we gonna do with those Stargates? I am not 100% convinced that this is the brightest choice, MrWhite. MrWhite is definitely a scientist, right? I am... no, this is not the way that MrWhite would play. MrWhite, if he were to play StarCraft 2, he would probably be like a turtle Terran player, okay? He strikes me as one of those people that would just play the safest all-round choice. This MrWhite we're looking at right now playing here with the blue Protoss pieces, he's a gambler. He's a gambler, and that's basically the opposite of what MrWhite in the show at the very least is. Anyhow. Good series, by the way. Lauren had actually never seen Breaking Bad before, so we actually rewatched it like a couple months ago. And it still holds up. Highly recommend it. Okay. Yeah, there's nothing, right? Like, I don't know what 4 Stargate... Okay, I guess he wanted to go Void Rays, but there's no way he can afford 4 Stargate Void Rays. And in the end, despite Proxy rushing his own 3rd base, and then Cannon rushing his own main base, and then going for a 1-base Tempest approach, it is Doxylamine who obtains the victory. Alrighty. Next up, our final game for today. My god. We've got another Diamond League match, and this game is a Protoss versus Zerg. So spawning here, we have OilyOnion. Couldn't help but notice there that OilyOnion started off with a GL before splitting the drones and before making a new worker and before sending the Overlord. OilyOnion, we gotta talk about your early game priorities. Anyways, the opponent in the opposite corner, playing here with the blue Protoss pieces, they go by the name of CivFan. I guess that means Civilizations Fan? Anyways, drone going straight across the map. So normally the build order in the early game is make workers, split workers, send Overlord, type GLHF. Okay, we gotta work on your early game. I guess he really wanted his opponent to have a good time. You know what? I'm here for it. Now, it's another Protoss game. Is this really that common on the ladder, guys? Because I swear in about 80% of the viewer submitted games featuring a Protoss player, we start off with a cannon rush. Yeah, oh my god, okay. We start off with a cannon rush most of the time. So, even though this is not actually good against a cannon rush, because there could just be one photon cannon over here and that would shut this down easy peasy. Anyways, let us look at how good the micro over here is against the photon cannon cheese. So far, so good. There's another pylon coming up. We need a couple more drones, though, on the low ground. That spawning pool is incredibly late. I guess it's because of that proxy hatch. Okay, so far, good block in here. You can't actually take down a pylon very easily, but you can indeed... Oh god, these guys... you can indeed shut down the photon cannons pretty easy. You know what? This is held easy peasy, right? Assuming he actually attack moves. No, no. Ah! Take the drones, attack move the freaking photon cannon. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, here's the end result. Zerglings should be out at this point. I think he just sent the drones. Oh my god, he's gonna... He's coming back for more. Okay, this is now going to work out because the spawning pool, I think, was pretty late here, right? It's mostly because of the proxy hatch that messes everything up, I guess, as far as the timings go. Don't second Overlord. Sir, please. Okay. Sorry, Otto the Overlord. It's 4 pylons to power 1 photon cannon. There's no split on these Zerglings, so I'm not a huge fan of this, but I do believe that eventually this photon cannon is gonna die. Oh no, dude! Oh, OilyOnion, everything hurts! Stop! It was such a nice, relaxing morning. What are you doing? This is bad for my blood pressure. Brenda, no! Okay, I thought Brenda was gonna die to the photon cannons. This is the most expensive creep tumor I've seen in a long time, because I think it's gonna come at the cost of about 500 plus resources. Anyways, there's a couple Zerglings coming up here too. Brenda apparently wants to go out with a bang, but she's super dead. Yeah, yeah. Taste to death. Horrible way to go. Okay, the 1 pylon to find them and in the darkness bind them is joined by a second photon cannon. Zerglings over here actually could be really quite annoying. Maybe this is gonna pay off here in the end for OilyFan regardless. This creep tumor is actually also quite good. Because that creep tumor is preventing Protoss from ever taking a natural over here. So what are we sending our money on now, lads? No! The Zerglings! Are you kidding me? Okay, he still killed a lot. But that should have been more. I think he probably wasn't paying attention. So what are we doing right now, lads? No one's doing anything. We've got actions per minute, but I don't know where they're being spent. Protoss is now sitting at... Okay, he finally built something. What are we building? Where? Oh, he queued up workers. Yo, this is not macro, okay? This is not... No, queuing up more probes does not count as macroing well. That's... Aha! Ay. I started off so nice and relaxed at the beginning of this cast. Here we are. OilyOnion. Going into a lair. One base lair, that is. And now into a spire. He's gonna be able to afford about 4 Mutalisks. Maybe 5, if it's a good day. CivFan is now trying to make a nexus. This is some 4 IQ decision making here, because trying to make a nexus when you can literally see the creep there, and then still saving up for the nexus. It's like buying a car but not having a driver's license and not having a license on the horizon. Like that was... Why save up if you can't make use of it? It makes no sense. So now we decide to go for this... Did we queue up probes again? Where are we spending our money? Oh, okay. Sorry, He's still at the cannon rush probe on the other side of the map. He probably briefly considered taking his opponent's natural, but instead he decides to take his opponent's 4th base. OilyOnion, though, has now got a base. He's... infestation pit. Yeah, I've got nothing. That infestation pit doesn't do much. He could go 1 base hive. Could go swarm hosts. Maybe. But none of that makes sense because the... I love the Spire rush into literally 4 Mutalisks. I mean, they could deal damage, don't get me wrong. But will they? I'm not sold. Okay, we're gonna see a Stargate here, because of course we see a Stargate, because, you know, even though a Robo facility would probably be preferable, this is of course someone who opened up with a cannon rush, and the only 2 options that most cannon rushes have is transitioning towards either Void Race, or, of course, their beloved Dark Templar. Anyways, here come the Flippy Flappies. All 4 of them. Did we really just go +1 flyer attacks for 4 Mutalisks? Okay, 5 Mutalisks. What was the infestation pit for? Well, you know what? I may have been making fun of them. But Protoss has not been doing anything. And because of that, yeah, he's not able to actually do much against these units. Okay. There's 1 Stalker and 1 Phoenix coming up. We have effectively a 1 base versus 1 base play. Just mass Stalker would do what? There's a Swarm host coming up. Let's see what the Swarm host is gonna achieve. Okay, we're recalling right in vision of all of those units, but at the very least the probes have found a new home. OilyOnion, you must have seen that recall. Right? You were controlling the mutas at that time, right? Come on, dude. Put 1 and 1 together. Come on. Did the probes, by the way, ever return to mining? This is a Diamond League game, according to the loading screen. But compared to at least the last 2 games we saw, it doesn't seem to be quite at the same level. Okay. Mutas? No, Mutas. We should really look around. There's still Swarmos, by the way, coming up. OilyOnion, look at the gas situation. 1,700 minerals, barely any gas. That's the problem with this. It's not that Mutas into Swarm hosts are by default bad, although I'm pretty sure it is. But there might be a time and place for it. It's just that on 1 base, it makes no sense, because you just don't have the resources. Anyway. We're gonna go for 3 more drones. I wouldn't mind seeing the gases here. I know that normally that would be crazy, but... He's looking around the map though, so I think he did pick up on the fact that, okay, there was indeed some shenanigans, and he does now find that nexus. Probes, you guys should recall all the way back home again. No, recall. You know what? I've been making fun of these mutas with their +1 flyer attacks. But they are absolutely murdering. Okay, phoenixes have shown up, but it's already too late for those probes. Not the cleanest phoenix control here. But you know what? It's working out. Creep tumor from the early game. The most expensive creep tumor. Almost as expensive as those zealots from the previous match. It's now providing vision for a Nydus network to be placed on the other side of the map. And inside of the Nydus worm, we've got... It's so funny to me to see all of this tech and then to see like 2 or 3 units popping out at a time. That's so funny. Maybe I need more humor in my life. I'm not sure. Anyways, 5 additional swarmos. They're now popping out of their cocoons as well. That's gonna be pretty sweet. The nice thing about locusts is that they fly, so you don't have to have them right over here. But hey, he's happy to just place the worm wherever he can. Smashing his tiny little gas bank just to make another Nydus worm. Phoenix is not very useful here. I mean, you can lift up maybe one of those. Yeah, there you go. Lift up the ones that that don't have any cooldowns. He lifted up 2 swarmos that were still on cooldown with their locusts. Anyways, my god. The more I cast these games, if I were to cast viewer games for 2 hours, I am gonna be the biggest douchebag by the end of it. Yeah, it is what it is. I've got a feeling, though, that the 1-base Muta into 1-base Swarm host play is gonna win this game. Despite the fact that OilyFan has not got a... Or... OilyFan? OilyFans. That's an entirely different place. That's a $1 million idea right there. That one was for free. Anyways, I meant CivOnion. No, wait, no, anyways, even though I don't think the build order has been particularly great or efficient. Here's Brenda, man. Brenda's taking care of her brood. Actually, no, that's Karen. Brendan died. Brendan? Brenda. Brenda died at the earlier stages of this game. Alright. And honestly, at this point, the swarm hosts are going to be very hard to stop. A Void Ray, of course, right? Because no one's surprised to see that. That one pylon. It's going to shut it down. And I've got a feeling that just like that, this game is over. GG is cold, and it is indeed OilyOnion. Or as a wise man once said, OilyFan. Who obtains the victory.